But now after looking at their fourth quarter results, I actually think this is a realistic price target. All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today I want to talk about a company called Nano Dimension, stock ticker NNDM. Nano put out a press release a couple of days ago, and I thought there was some big news in there that we should go through. So we cover a lot of small cap, high growth companies on this channel. So if that's content that you're interested in, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And of course, if you like this video, please smash the like button and feel free to leave a comment below. All right, let's take a look. Before we get to the press release, I want to just look at a few things real quickly, and then I want to show you what's going on. They put out some fourth quarter numbers early, and they were impressive. Okay, so right now, today is February 2nd. We're just at the beginning of the trading day, and Nano Dimension is down about 1%. It's trading at $3.76. So this is still very near its 52-week low. Its 52-week low is $3. Its 52-week high is $17.77. So, you know, we're off of its absolute lows from last week, but still very close to its 52-week low, leaving this with a market cap of $986 million. So we'll get back to that later because that is very relevant. So this is Nano Dimension's homepage, and this is their flagship product. So you'll actually see under solutions, they do a lot of different things. Here's the Dragonfly 4. This is where the majority of their revenue comes from. However, they have been making acquisitions and they're involved in a lot of other things. So these machines have a big sales price and they have heavy reoccurring revenue. So that's kind of their business model right now. And again, through mergers and acquisitions, they are expanding the things that they do. I'm going to look at one more thing before we go through their brand new press release. I want to look at their third quarter results because it's really going to put the press release that they just put out into its proper perspective. So this is for the 3 months ended 9/30/2021. So they put this out in late November, and they say Nano Dimension's revenue increased by 107% in 9 months and by 206% in 3 months ended 9/30/2021 compared to 9/30/2020. So that's a year-over-year comparison. They were up 206%. And then 65% increase quarter over quarter. From Q2 to Q3, they're up 65%. So I thought this was a very good press release. Now, I did mention in my other video, they're still nowhere near the revenue they need to be at, but these are big steps in the right direction. So quarter over quarter revenue growth was the most important thing to me, and that was 65%. So that was very impressive. Now, they've given us a preliminary look at the fourth quarter. And typically when companies jump out ahead and give you a preliminary look before they actually release their fourth quarter, it's typically good news. So that is the case in this instance. So let's look at what they said. So this was January 31st, just a couple of days ago. Nano Dimension's approximated revenue, fourth quarter and full year 2021, $7 million and $10 million. So that's $7 million for the fourth quarter and $10 million for the year. So you can see 70% of their revenue for 2021 came in the fourth quarter. So they are picking up momentum massively. And if you remember, the third quarter was 65% bigger than the second quarter. This is quarter over quarter growth that's bringing them from one level to an entirely another level of revenue. So then they go on to say that's a 255% increase over Q4 2020. So year over year for the quarter, that's a 255% increase, and a 420% increase quarter over quarter from quarter 3 to quarter 4. So 420% increase from Q3, which was their best quarter of the year so far. Now, the first couple of quarters were down. Nano Dimensions did suffer quite a bit from the pandemic and the global supply chain. That's one of the reasons their stock was down. However, when we look at the charts, I think you're going to see it's down to a point that is totally unreasonable. But this puts them back on the trajectory that they were on. So massive growth from the second quarter to the third quarter, and then astronomical growth of 420% from the third quarter to the fourth quarter of this year. So much so that they got this press release out early in advance of their quarterly earnings call. Okay, so I'm just going to read one sentence from here. On a preliminary basis, Nano Dimension reported unaudited approximated consolidated revenues of $7 million for the fourth quarter ended December 31st, 2021, and $10 million for the full year ended December 31st. So in the first 3 quarters, they did $3 million. And so the next sentence is of equal importance, in my opinion. Unaudited consolidated cash and deposits balances as of the same date, December 31st, 2021, were approximately $1,355 million. So $1.355 billion cash in the bank at December 31st. These numbers are well beyond what was expected, and the cash everybody knew about, so we can see when you'll take a look, their cash burn is minimal, and that includes some mergers and acquisitions. So this is a company with $1.355 billion in cash. For all intents and purposes, they have enough cash to last for decades. So, you know, this company, you're going to see when we get to the chart, this company has been priced pretty much to go out of business. So the first thing is, if it's going to go out of business, it's not going to be for 10 or 20 years because they just have that much cash. The second thing is, as you can see, they are gaining massive, massive momentum. I mean, 420% quarter over quarter. Plans to improve that in 2022. So you'll see there's very few analysts that are covering this, and even less that are giving actual numbers on potential revenue and net income. They've got, it looks like, a total of 3 companies that have initiated coverage all back in November. In December and January, those companies did not weigh in at all. So far here, right at the beginning of February, and I'm sure it is because of the press release that we just read, 2 of the analysts have weighed in, one at a buy and one at a strong buy. But this is very slight coverage. I expect that in 2022, several analysts will pick this company up and start covering them once Nano Dimension gets back on track, pretty much like they just did in the fourth quarter. Once we see some consistency out of them, and if they can give some guidance of their own in their fourth quarter earnings call, that would also be very important. So you can see only one analyst at all even had estimates for this company, and their estimate for the year 2021 was $5 million. Well, we just saw they did double that. They did $10 million. So that same analyst has a 2022 estimate of $41 million. So we'll have to wait and see what the company's guidance is, but this seems like a pretty easy target based on their fourth quarter and the additional streams of revenue that they have added through mergers and acquisitions and will likely continue to add. It's a core part of their strategy as a company. That is why they have $1.355 billion. So I expect they could actually blow way by this number. No estimates on profits. Their cash burn rate is pretty small, so they're losing money at this point, but it is not a significant amount versus the cash that they have in the bank. On December 14th, they put out this press release. Nano Dimension announces chairman and CEO has invested approximately $500,000 to purchase its shares in the open market. So the CEO bought $500,000 worth of shares in December because this stock, in his opinion and in my opinion, and again, this is not financial advice, you guys got to take a look at this yourself. And if you are interested, I recommend you watch my deep dive video I did a couple of weeks ago. Their CEO bought $500,000 worth of stock on the open market. So that is a gigantic vote of confidence from management that their stock is underpriced. I would expect to see more of this, actually. So with all that said, I want to look at one more thing, and then let's take a look at the chart and talk about some potential price targets. If you remember at the beginning, we said that this had a market cap of $986 million. Well, we saw in the press release that they have $1.35 billion. So that's about $400 million more in cash than the entire company is worth. This company has virtually no debt, so it's not like they have $1.35 billion in cash, but they owe $1 billion in debt. They have $3 million in debt, so that may be down to zero by now for all I know. Either way, $3.5 million versus $1.3 billion is basically no debt at all. So their net cash position is somewhere over $1.3 billion, and their market cap is $400 million less than that. So that means they're valuing this entire company at zero plus a negative $400 million. So again, in certain circumstances, you could justify that. If there was massive debt, if they had a massive cash burn rate, if they weren't growing and you knew that it was a matter of time and this company was going to fail, that would be one thing. But with $1.35 billion of cash, this company isn't going anywhere, and their growth rate is astronomical right now. So you can see I can't make a lot of sense out of their current stock price. And we're going to go to the chart right now and take a look. And you're going to see just how oversold they are, in my opinion. This is Nano Dimension's chart on the 1-day scale. Each one of these candles represents 1 day. This is just about the last 1 year, just a little bit more. So you can see it kind of had a double top here on January 22nd, 2021, and then again on February 10th, 2021, which is just a little bit less than 1 year ago. This stock got up to almost $18. So as you'll see if you're familiar with the channel, what I do with most of these small cap high growth stocks, a lot of these in last December, January, February spiraled upward out of control, and they were probably overbought at that point. I try to ignore this period of time and take it out of the equation when I'm looking at the activity that this company has had, because this was an overexuberant, overbought period of time. Even if I take all that out of the equation and go down to when it was trading at around $11.65, this stock bottomed out at 73% below that, and it's currently trading right now at 67% below that. So this stock is still down massively, and in reality, it is down about 78%, and it was down over 80% a few days ago. You'll see that this stock double bottomed on January 24th and then again on January 27th. And this was very common with most of the small cap high growth stocks. They all experienced this double bottom, which I believe represented the bottom, and they're headed up from here. You know, they've had a nice little run of almost 20% over the last maybe 3 days. Having said that, all that does is that gets them right back to where they were in the middle of January, which was at their all-time low. So this stock still sits very near its all-time low. If this stock was to get back to where it was trading on November 3rd, and remember, by November 3rd, they didn't even have the third quarter results. So the third quarter results were very good news. The fourth quarter results are off the charts, and yet this stock would have to go up almost 78% just to get back to where it was at that point. So this is my first price target. And again, this is not financial advice. You guys got to do your own due diligence and figure out if this stock makes sense for you. But for me, I'm looking at this 78% as a very reasonable first price target. If they release good first quarter 2022 numbers that are trending along, then I think this is an extremely realistic price to get back to. Again, this stock is still down 62% off of its 52-week high. So that is not exactly shooting for the moon. I'm going to do one more price target. To get back to where this stock was trading on June 25th, that would be about 148% increase in the stock price. That's much more than a double. And again, that's just to get back to where it was trading in June at $9. And at $9, it was about 50% down off of its 52-week high. This stock has about 148% room to grow just to get back to 50% down from its 52-week high. So in my last video, I thought that this was maybe a little unrealistic, but now after looking at their fourth quarter results, I actually think this is a realistic price target for the end of 2022. So maybe a 1-year price target, in my opinion, of a potential of 148% upside on this stock. I want to reiterate, these are my opinions, so this is not financial advice. Please check this stock out if you're interested in buying it and do your own due diligence. And that's all I got for you on Nano Dimension. Thanks so much for watching.